Um, we were speaking a few minutes ago and we were talking about the loss of SNAP benefits. And you said something that I really had not considered, but you shared with me that for a lot of parents, you don't have to have a lot of money as long as you can put food on the table. And I wonder if you can talk more about that.
Yes. A parent's ability to put food on the table is such a sense of pride. And the taking away of the SNAP benefits strips away that sense of pride. You don't have to have a lot of money, the best car, but a lot of things what parents pride themselves on is being able to give them opportunities that they do not have themselves. And you think about dinner time has been, in most families, the most instrumental time. That's when you are bonding, you're talking about your day, you're finding out how your child may have mastered some new technique that you did not know about. And it ties into the socio emotional aspect of family dinner time. You think about when families come together, that's a whole sense of love. And you share that love through the sharing of food. How do you continue that when there's no food to put on the table? That ability or what you that highlight moment of a parent being able to provide your child with a high nutritious meal, now you no longer have that ability. And when you think of the highlight of the day, the highlight could be for the mother and the father who has prepared the food, who may not have a lot of things going on or things that did not go well, throughout their workday, but they know that their day is going to conclude really, really well by being able to share over a meal. We're stripping that away. When people already feel like they have no control over other aspects of their lives, and now you no longer give them the pridefulness, the ability to, the opportunity to, the sharing of over that meal. That's extremely disheartening. Childcare centers, we are the backbone of society, but we're the industry that receives the least amount of respect through financial rewards, through even praise. I tell people that the child care facility or ECE program is so instrumental because we provide so many meals for our children, and that is going to cause a detriment even to our programs when you cannot supply those foods. Our program, for example, the Incredible Kids Learning Center, our organization, which is a Keystone Star Force Center in Philadelphia, we rose to the occasion because we knew that our children were not receiving the appropriate or adequate meals. So we ensured that by being able to purchase those meals from breakfast, lunch, we're an extended hours program. So from your breakfast, your lunch, your snack, and even dinner or supper. And I'll take it a step further. I can't even tell you how many families we have that live in the shelter system. And one of the ways we're able to reunite the family, because in the shelter system, if there is a family unit, they're separated. One of the best things we do early in the morning, before our program even starts, is that we create opportunities for families to eat together, because that will be the only time they're going to be able to eat together as a family unit. When they're done their work related programs or they're going to work or they're doing something called a welfare to work program, they have to separate. Because if they're not back at the shelter by a certain time, you're not guaranteed a space. Food unites families. That's the biggest thing you can do for your child is making sure that they're able to eat well. The scarier part about this, if you have a child that may be diabetic, that could be insulin dependent, that could have other ailments, that could have Crohn disease, that could have any sort of kind of other ailments, if you cannot properly provide the appropriate meal, now you're looking at increased hospital stays, increased hospital visits. I know for a fact we have children that have multiple disabilities in our programs, and food is so instrumental. Being able to, if your child if their glucose levels are dropping, and you need to be able to go to your refrigerator to prepare what you need to prepare for your child to keep them out of the hospital, you can no longer do that. That is now not just an emotional, financial stress on the family. Parents should not be placed in a position to feel like they are set up to fail. And the taking away of their SNAP benefits is causing them to fail. You're taking their sense of pride away. When did we become snatching and stealing away people's pride? You may not have a whole lot, but one thing you can guarantee is that you can provide for your family, and that's through the food that you're able to serve. Oh, it's muted. Yes.
When you started talking, it's so simple, but it's so profound and so true. And I think about my own family. My grandmother had my paternal grandmother had 8 children, but one of the things that her kids always prided her on is that there was always something to eat. And it may not have been a lot, but it was enough for them. And so for her, she very much cherished the fact that she was able to put something on the stove to care for her kids. And so I just appreciate that perspective, even the way that families organize themselves around meals, and I would say communities do too. And I just have one more question for you. How does it feel to a childcare provider to worry about not only whether or not kids are coming in hungry, but whether or not they're going to get the funding and the resources to help meet that need? How does that feel?
It makes you feel as if you're failing a child. I'll be truthfully honest. And most people in ECE, the compensation is not there, but the love and the passion for the child is. That is scary for an ECE provider such as ourselves when you have to now stress about, can I do the bare minimum? Food is the bare minimum.
It's the
That's one
bare
of those
minimum.
essentials that you need to survive every day. We know what
Yeah.
happens when we work and we don't eat in time. Your energy levels plummet. I know how I am. I consider myself to be a little bit of a robot. But my kids, they enjoy food. And I'll give you an even better example. A lot of my parents who will send their children in with these cute little lunch boxes and lunch bags, you know what they say? They first of all, the child knows who has packed their lunch. The parent is so thorough and they know their children so well that they know what their children like. But then parents take it a step further, and I've seen the notes when the parent says, "I'm thinking of you, have a great day," with a smiley face. I can recall as a child, my mother, God rest her soul, who passed away in 2024. One of the fond memories I had, and this is a woman who just worked 2 jobs at one time in order for my brother and I to have. I can still recall the best remnants of she before she would do her 3 to 12 shift. She would literally prepare meals for my brother and I, but it was the post-it note and the message with the little smiley face. I still have the smiley face today. Those small moments. Children know my mommy packed that food, my daddy packed that food, my family packed that food. And here's an even bigger aspect. We're also missing the cultural aspect of it. Certain cultures prepare certain meals for their children. So now, not only are we stealing away pride, we're now stripping away cultural traditions. That's instrumental. And those cultural traditions have been passed from family, from generation to generation to generation. So now we're stopping generational practices, we're stopping cultural practices. Certain foods are also provided for families with religious practices. And when they're not able to provide those things, now we're looking at a bigger scope and issue of taking away SNAP benefits. I'm extremely disheartened to think that come Thanksgiving, people will not be able to gather to celebrate. And that's a celebration of each other and family. Far too often we go through where we don't have enough time. As talk to the single parent does not have enough time. But what that single parent has time to do is to make sure that their children are eating well.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
cannot, who's going to advocate for our parents than
Yeah.
us?
Yeah, I'm a single parent, and so I appreciate that level of recognition and sensitivity. And I'll tell you, I have 2 kids, but when my son was little, I would watch him eat because it did something to me to know that, okay, he's going to be nourished. And sometimes he would catch me staring and he would say, "Mom, stop looking at me." But it was a huge sense of it was just very meaningful to me to know that he was eating, right?
Yes. And you know why, Miss Jennifer? It warms your heart to know that your child is smiling and eating.
Yeah.
because something that you did.
Yeah.
And far too often, you think of we're raising children, we want them to be productive members of society. And that small little moment, and you're thinking, half of the time when you're going to the grocery store, it's not even about what the parent likes, it's about what the kid likes.
Absolutely.
You're
Absolutely.
thinking, okay, if my kid doesn't like vegetables, and I know they're going to like, when I make the meatloaf, or I have pasta kids, and I may have a texture child.
Yeah.
It's some small little things like that. And that's prideful.
Yeah.
Food warms the heart. And the way we're able to share special moments through our heart is by the nurturing and the love that we put into preparing the food. It goes way more than just going to the store to buy food. It's being able to take that food and turning that food into a meal. That's instrumental for
Mm,
a family unit.
mm,
And when you think of a texture kid or a child who has a swallowing issue, and we see this a lot in the trauma social work field, it goes a step further. We talk about those ailments. Parents have to be able to purchase foods if their child is on a parade diet where certain textures, and let's call it what it is. It is expensive to eat healthy. And why should our children receive anything less than? We don't want to have a child constantly eating fast food. It's more expensive to eat fast food. If you
absolutely.
have two, three, four children, but there's a common thing that we do in the ECE field called family style meals. And that's when you're able to bring the meals and all the children eat together. It's the same concept of family style meals when they're eating at home. I joke around with my teachers and I say, the quietest time I hear the children is when they're eating, but their little feet are just a going. And you see them eating. And what I love about the line of work that we're in when we're providing the meals for our children, or our parents are providing the meals for them, is seeing how excited they are to eat. They're eating with their friends, they're eating with their family. In our program, we have a premise where it's not just your classmate is your friend, your classmate is your family, your teacher is your family. My teachers eat with the children. That's a special bonding moment for them. We're binding over food because we're able to explain or introduce, in this case, new foods, new vegetables. We just don't put foods in front of a child and say, just eat this. The kids are now curious about, wow, what is John Paul eating? Or what is Sarah eating? So now they're excited and they're going home and telling mom and dad, and they're saying, my classmate ate this. Can we try this? That's a whole new opportunity for a parent to create something new. And here's another aspect that no one understands when we take away SNAP benefits. One of the most beautiful, beautiful, precious moments is when your child becomes old enough to cook with you. Those memories, when our loved ones are no longer here, those are the memories that carry us forward, that you can pass down from, that was passed down from your parents and their grandparents. So now when you go to have the privilege or a blessing to have your own family, you get to pass those traditions to your own. And now you think of everybody's in the kitchen together. And that also shows the parent, oh my goodness, my child is really growing up. They're
Yeah.
maturing.
And they're
But
watching.
then also, and they're watching.
Yeah.
But guess what else that does? It contributes to the self-esteem of the child.
Okay.
Being able to show their mother that they can, mom and dad, you may have put the peanut butter and the jelly on the slices of bread, but I can sure enough combine it. Those small things. Or mommy, I know what broccoli, how important broccoli is. I know what carrots do. I know what vegetables mean, where if I eat carrots, it contributes to eyesight. When I eat an apple, it produces or sort of kind of encompasses healthy teeth. Parents thrive off of that because they're not in the classroom setting when they're able to see what their child is learning and doing. So when you're preparing these meals and your child is now stirring that spoon, making those mashed potatoes, and you're saying, Mom, I have it, hand coordination. So now you're able to see we're taking learning outside of the classroom. We're now taking learning into the home environment.
Yeah.
Food does that.
Yeah.
All those moments are created through
For
preparation and
food.
serving of meals.
So I know I said that was the last question, but I do have one more question. One of the things that has surprised me as we lead up to November 1st is it seems like a lack of compassion, even cruelty. Like if you spend any time on social media at all, there are people making videos almost suggesting, or actually they don't even see children. And I'm just wondering, does that surprise you? And what do you think our response should be in the face of that kind of cruelty?
I think a lot of people lack empathy. And I've heard this comment where people are saying, oh, if a family made a better choice, they would not be in a predicament that they're in. That is the most disheartening statement and lack of compassion anyone can say. And, it sort of kind of ties into the have and the have nots. One of the concepts I ended up speaking about at City Hall, there seems to be a price tag over which children or families are more valued than others. Some people may have been afforded more opportunities than others, but here's the kicker. When you think of children or the children that we have in our city and states, they're all of our children. It is everyone's responsibility to make sure that we are educating them well, we are providing high quality care, we're feeding them well, and we're also serving as a resource and a support for our family units. Family units need more. So it's not, oh, that's your problem, that's your child, that's your family. It's everybody's family. And let me tell you how it directly impacts everybody. We all have coworkers. Your coworker may not come to work and say, I may not have ate the night before, but my children did. So when your coworkers cannot make it to work, and a lot of us don't even know what the struggles people have behind their own doors because they come to work with a brave face. And we're also raised to never complain, but just do. It's okay to complain when you cannot properly provide for your child or your children. Being able to provide a better life than anyone has had for their children is so monumental, instrumental. When you think of the motivator in life, you want to provide and afford your children with the opportunities that we so blessed get to have. When we're 16,000 kids in with my organization, and I know all 16,000 children over the 14 years when we started this company. Incredible Kids was started and founded from a mother who I watched, which is give and give and give. My mother's motto was, you give with no expectation to receive anything back, because the beauty in your blessing is the ability to give. That is key, to be able to give. And it is our responsibility to make sure that no child or family goes hungry. That's a basic necessity and decent need. The least that we could do is ensuring that families are able to eat.
Mm, mm,
If we don't provide anything else, that's the biggest thing or contributor that we can do
mm.
while we figure everything else out. Food should not be one of those things. We
Yeah.
should not have families stressing about, oh my goodness, am I going to make ends meet? We already know the family is struggling. But what we should not, and now we're adding more stress that you cannot properly put food on your table. So now, as a parent, you feel like you have failed your family unit, your child, and your children. That right there is what will break many families. That is why